Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well, having a great evening. Hope everybody's taking some time to, just wind down, spend time with family, um, just have a good time as well. Today we're coming and we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to keep doing it every single, twice a month. Keep on drilling it through, talk more and more and more about foster care within the community. Um, It's something that needs to be talked about all week, every day, every month. So, we're going to keep drilling it through and hopefully continue to bring more and more and more foster parents to the community. So, we're going to give people another minute or so to join in. I hope everybody, like I said, I hope everybody's having a great week. My week is going well. I just hope everybody's having a good time. And like I said today, and at this moment, have some good dinner, spend some time with the people you love, do some unwinding. It's hump day. It's halfway throughout the week, so you're almost to the weekend. Just keep pushing through. Um, and yeah, so we're gonna give people another about 15 seconds or such before we get started for people to join in. All right, so welcome everyone to JMC's Intro to Foster Care, where you will learn a little bit more about what we do, what we stand for, and the need for foster care within the community. Need for foster care, the need for foster parents, and any questions that you would like to have answered. So moving forward, who are we? We are James Matthew Commission, founded by Chelaine and Alex Davis. And their mission and vision was to start an organization that focuses on supporting children primarily within the foster care system. We believe that every child should and will experience an authentic, reliable, and supportive community. We believe there are no bad kids. There are only kids put in bad situations. We strive to make fostering children become the norm within your community. And we serve the foster care community in so many different ways. But our main goal is to find more people who are willing and able to provide a safe and stable home for the kids in foster care. So now we're going to move a little bit to the problem within the foster care system. So there are three major problems when we're talking about foster care in the communities. One, there being an unbelievable amount of children being taken from their homes and placed into the foster care system. Two, since they're being taken away from their homes, that means they're being taken away from their communities, villages, and being placed in, or just being taken away from unfamiliarity, or being taken away from familiarity and being put into uncertain situations where they don't really, have a say-so or control of what goes on. So that's number two. And then three, there's a very limited amount of adults who are willing to provide a safe and stable home for these kids. So, adults willing to become foster parents. So those are the three. So, the crazy amount of kids who are not the unbelievable amount of kids and children who are in the foster care system. That's number one. These children being taken out of their communities and villages and places of familiarity. That's number two. And then the limited amount of, adults willing to become foster parents is number three. So our tagline and what we stand by is we are a village for children in need. So what does that mean? You're probably wondering that. So we find trusted adults who will provide a safe and stable home. We assure that children have their mental, emotional, and developmental needs met. We continuously engage with caregivers as they care for our children. We make connections in our community to those who share our values and passions. And at the end of the day, we will help you find a role in our village. So, you can make a positive impact on our children. Now we can move on to, steps to becoming a foster parent. So one, you can start by getting in contact with us through our many different platforms, Facebook, Instagram, our website, phone, email, or in person. You will be directed to myself to answer any quick questions you may have, figure out how you want to approach this, and get you to come out for an orientation to learn more about becoming a foster parent in the process. And then 3, you will need to fill out a background check and also a pre-application form, and then we can start the licensing process to getting you to become a foster parent. All right. Now, we're going to switch it up a little bit, and we are going to talk about a couple of different ways to foster. It's a slightly different segment than what we have talked about here on the live, and we thought that it was necessary to involve into this entire process. So different ways to foster. So starting with, you could do kinship care. So kinship care is, kin as in kinship, as in family members or people of your family, relatives such as grandparents, aunts, uncles, or cousins are typically the first desirable option to provide a safe and caring environment for children. Just a little statistic: in the U.S., an estimated 2.7 million grandparents are raising their grandchildren at this very moment. And a lot of people don't know that, if you are a grandparent raising your grandchildren, you can actually get paid from the state to, help take care of these kids. So, it's really a win-win for both parties. So you can also get a lot of different resources and whole tons of resources, to help better raise the child as well. So there's also non-related kinship care, which, happens to be, when placing a child with a familiar caregiver, which is, non-related kin. So, they are familiar with this person, typically like a neighbor, a family friend, teacher, coach, or like other acquaintance, who is familiar with the child and his or her family, is willing to provide a safe and stable home for that child. So that would be non-related kin, people who are still relatively close to the family, but they're not technically related to the family, but, can be seen as kin. That would be non-related kinship care. And then we can move on to, traditional foster care. So to be individuals who meet the requirements and complete the training to become a foster parent, can care for any child, teen, or sibling group, in state custody for an undetermined amount of time. So that's regular foster care. That's what we're talking about. And then we can talk about specialized therapeutic or medical foster care. So, there's many children in the foster care realm who have experienced traumatic stress, such as abuse, neglect, and other family challenges. And some also have, significant medical conditions or intellectual and developmental delays. So these children need special care and special attention to heal from these traumatic events and, to help deal with these medical conditions. So, if you have a heart for that, or, you may have expertise in one of these, specialized therapeutic or medical, you could definitely jump in that lane as well. That's definitely another lane in foster care as well, because, there's kids of all type, and there's kids for, all different types of kids. So, If that's your lane, that's great too. So, like I said, we're just breaking down a lot of the different ways that you can foster and that you can, be involved fostering. And we can also go to emergency foster care. So, this is um, basically the fact that children can enter, the foster care system, or other words, state custody on any given day, anytime, um, at any moment. Therefore, child welfare, professionals must work day and night um, to find suitable placement options for the children. Like we said last week, social workers work, tirelessly and are always on call finding places for these kids to stay. So emergency caregivers, which is, part of the emergency foster care, would provide short-term care for children placed in like protective custody, usually like 72 business hours until a relative or a foster family placement is found for that child. So emergency foster care is very important as well, because we don't want these kids to be staying in hotels and in all these different places. They stay in hotels, they stay in social workers' offices and different things like that. We don't want those kids to stay there while they're in the process of trying to find placement. So emergency foster care is definitely important, and it's emergency. It's short term. It wouldn't be. It's not a long term placement. So this would be a good lane for people who are trying to get their feet wet, but don't want to jump in all the way, or just have certain specific days in their schedule where they would be able to lend a hand. This would be a good option for them. And then now moving forward, we can talk a little bit about respite care. So just like any parent, foster parents need time to rest and recharge from providing ongoing daily care to a child. Everybody needs rest always. Even foster parents, even though foster parents are like superheroes, they still need help as well. So respite caregivers provide a short-term care similar to emergency, but which is typically evening or weekend care for a child currently living with another foster family. Providing respite care is a great way, to see if foster parenting is right for you. So the difference between emergency foster care and respite care, one, they're both short term, but the biggest difference is emergency would be it's kind of like on call, it's kind of random, because the kids just find out they're being placed into the foster care system, so they need somewhere to go quickly. So that would be emergency. And then respite is more planned. So, you can team up with another foster family who may have like specific days, like let's say on, every week on a Sunday, the family has something that they have to do, that they got to go out of town, and they need someone to watch the foster kid. So that's what respite care would be. It could be on the weekend or like an evening or whatever the case may be. The biggest difference is emergency isn't planned and respite is planned. So respite, you basically plan the schedule of when you're going to have the kid, along with the foster family. Everything is planned. Everybody knows what's going on. That's what respite care is. And then lastly, we could talk a little bit about extended foster care. Extended foster care is more so when these kids, a lot of us know when kids, either graduate high school or they turn 18, to the state they're seen as adults. But we know a lot of times when you turn 18, you're really not an adult. You may be in age, but, maybe in your maturity level or, how you carry yourself or whatever the case may be, they may need some extra time to still, develop and, work themselves into becoming an adult. And that's what extended foster care is. So the kids, after they turn 18, they have the opportunity to almost sign up for extended foster care. And what you could be, how this ties into JMC and for the foster parents out there, you can basically license yourself to be extended foster care for children who are older. Maybe you have a heart for, for helping the older kids transition into college or transition into like a work study program or whatever the case may be, helping them transition into becoming adults. If you have a heart for that, extended foster care can definitely work for you. And it's something I can tell you from my own experience, it's something that's definitely needed within foster care, because there's a ton of kids who turn 18 and then, don't really have much guidance and, end up on the streets after they turn 18. So definitely a need in the foster care realm. But here we are, I'm going to wrap it up. So we appreciate everyone who has tuned into our live and hope that you are all a little more familiar with foster care and the problem that it presents in our community. If anything that we spoke about, and I mean anything, aligns with your own values, we would love to connect with you and get you involved. You can contact us by email at fosters@jmckids.com or myself at ddorsey@jmckids.com. You can check our website as well at jmckids.com for more information. And that wraps up the live. Hope everybody has a great night and enjoys themselves. And please feel free to reach out, if you have an interest in foster care or if you know anybody that has an interest. Okay. Thank you. Have a blessed night.